Hello again, everyone. Edwin Leonard back once again. In this YouTube astrological segment, I'm going to be talking about Mercury conjunct the Ascendant in a natal chart. Now, some of you may remember when I first started my YouTube astrology channel, I did a series on the aspects in a natal chart. They were a little bit concise. Some people may have referred to them as snappy, so what I decided to do was make another series on them in which the videos would be a little bit longer and more descriptive. So anyway, first thing up is if you have Mercury conjunct the Ascendant in a natal chart, there may be very intense communication, which is Mercury about the self, your outlook on life, new beginnings, which is the Ascendant. Now, if you're talking, say a lot about yourself, and let's say you have a Taurus Ascendant, you may be speaking of quality, your outward qualities, about being very loyal, steadfast, persistent, patient, persevering, trustworthy, stolid, even placid, calm. If if the Ascendant is in the zodiac sign Cancer, you may be talking a lot about, being very sympathetic, nurturing, caring, dedicated, devoted, tenacious, protective, introverted, as some other examples. And if Aries is rising, the outlook may simply be, not being intimidated by anyone, and this is what you may strongly emphasize, when you're as far as when you're communicating. And this is another thing too, is that the mind, which is Mercury, may often be on the physical body and appearance, which is the Ascendant. Now, let's say if Sagittarius is rising, the physical body, may be very, could be a strong, sturdy, very, could be large build, sometimes heavy though. There's a, Sagittarius rising does have a propensity to gain weight. If the rising is Capricorn, is another example. It could be, the physical body, maybe one, that's rather lean, dark person, maybe, dark complexioned, longish face, cheekbones emphasized. The thing is, it just depends, on the rising sign. And, Pisces rising can have a very dreamy look, and, in terms of how they appear, to others. So that may be, as an example of Pisces is rising. That's what the mind, may often be on, in terms of how one appears to others, the appearance. Now, another thing about Mercury conjunct the Ascendant in a natal chart, it may also manifest, and there could be physical related, which is the Ascendant, issues with the hands, the arms, nerves, lungs, and breathing, which is Mercury. Now, let's say, it's a conjunction, is an Aquarius. It might be, something, more intermittent, sporadic, or erratic. The thing is, if you have it in Taurus, it might be more stubborn, persistent, kind of issues you may be dealing with. Now, another thing too is that if you have Mercury conjunct the Ascendant in a natal chart, another way it may manifest could be where one emphasizes the short journeys, which is Mercury, to places that are connected with one's early childhood, which is the Ascendant. Now, let's say if the Ascendant is in the zodiac sign Cancer, those places may be very, really nostalgic, and ones that are tied into, one's home and family life. It could be places, that sell like collectibles, as some examples. If the Ascendant is in Sagittarius, it may be places of adventure or some kind of amusement, where one felt like they could kind of explore, pretty much, about exploration, as some examples. And another thing too is that if you have this aspect in your natal chart, you may frequently think, which is Mercury, about making, just the general good first impression, which is the Ascendant. on others, whether it could be a prospective job, or somebody that may be your father, or a mother-in-law possibly. The thing is, if the ascendant is in Gemini, as an example, making that first impression, that could be one, that's very versatile, multifaceted, well-rounded, articulate, uh, handy, like being dexterous, being very witty, and those are, as some, adaptable as some examples. If the ascendant, say, is in Virgo, as another example, that first impression may be tied in with being very punctual, reliable, industrious, being very punctilious with details, being proper, organized, having a good, work ethic, as some other examples. Now, also too, one may expend, much vitality and energy, which is the ascendant, in matters pertaining to communication, writing, and manual dexterity, which is Mercury. And the thing is, let's say if the ascendant is in Leo, as an example, that vitality and energy may be inexorable. It might be nearly indefatigable. You're talking about very robust, very strong energy. Aries could be the same way. The ascendant is in Aries. Aries is obviously, very, energetic, and usually has an abundance of, energy, vitality. If the ascendant is in Pisces, there may not be much energy in general, but they'll still use a lot of their energy, expend a lot of it on those things I mentioned, connected with communication, writing, and manual dexterity, which is Mercury. Now, also too, when somebody has Mercury conjunct the ascendant in a natal chart, there may be very, noticeable, like I call gesticulative, which is Mercury, hand gesture, gesticulative mannerisms. Because the ascendant can be tied in with mannerisms, and Mercury is very, it's about the hands and a lot of movement, connected with this. If the conjunction is in Gemini, say, as an example, this really could really accentuate, that energy, as an example. Now, also too, the thing about this aspect is one may often analyze, which is Mercury, how one comes across to others, which is the ascendant. Let's say if the ascendant is in Libra, as an example, how one may come across to others can be very charming, diplomatic, tactful, refined, balanced, equitable, cooperative, relationship-oriented, somebody that emphasizes intellectual sociability. And also, too, Mercury conjunct the ascendant may be expressed in, driving, which is Mercury, often to, to friends, the friends of siblings, because the ascendant is the 11th house from the 3rd house, so that can represent those friends of siblings, if you do have any. Now, those friends of siblings, let's say if the ascendant is in Leo, those friends of siblings, one or more, may actually be a Leo sun, moon, or ascendant person, or embody Leo characteristics. It could be people that are very dignified, prideful, loyal, those that are very generous, magnanimous, creative, people that may have a whimsical quality, have a sunny disposition, as some examples. Now, another thing too is that the person's walk, how one walks, which is the ascendant, may often be monitored, which is Mercury, because Mercury could be connected, why, how, what are the reasons that, somebody may be, scrutinized or monitored. Now, if the ascendant is in Taurus, the walk may be one naturally that's very methodical and deliberate, with the feet coming out well before the rest of the body. Aries rising may walk with the head coming out a little bit before the rest of the body as some examples. And having this aspect can simply mean being very, loquacious, articulate, mobile, and dexterous, being handy, with things, which is Mercury, with the hands. And also, too, siblings, cousins, and neighbors, which is Mercury, may play an integral role in terms of your new endeavors, which is the Ascendant. Now, let's say the Ascendant is in Sagittarius, as an example. New endeavors may be tied in with advertising, publishing, printing press operation, college teaching, importing and exporting, sports, the outdoors, as some examples. Anyway, people, that'll conclude this YouTube astrological segment. Until next time, Edwin Leonard saying, stay well.